Wasabi guys, Void here, coming back at you with another video. This one is going to be more or less just a vote here, and I'm going to be asking you guys just which do you like the most out of the four speculated commander decks that we're about to receive here. And the tribes are, three of them are pretty much well known. I mean, we already know what they are here: dragons, cats, vampires. And the fourth one is the only one where there might be some speculation as to what they could be. I think everybody, though, the general consensus seems that they could be doing a cleric deck. It's probably going to be black-white. But I also think that there could be that small chance that it's a wizard tribal deck. And I say that because we have a lot of mono blue wizard support, mainly from Onslaught. But what we're lacking in is we're lacking in a lot of off-color wizard support, and it would be interesting to see if they went the Grixis route. And it does look like they could be doing something like maybe a necromantic ritual there in the artwork, and that's just my opinion. It could also be something that clerics do. I don't really know. I'm not an expert on the difference between wizards and clerics and, you know, all that shit. I don't really know. I don't care. To be honest, I'm going to probably buy this deck more than the other decks. It looks more interesting to me. We have received some vampire tribal options in the past. Options like Olivia Voldaren, that's her name, right? And we've had the other Olivia from Shadows over Innistrad. We've had the Dranas. We have a lot of options when it comes to vampires. So the vampire option, while I do like the fact that they're going with what looks like Edgar Markov, if you don't know who he is basically the grandfather of Sorin Markov, and he is the founder of the Markov bloodline, and more importantly for Innistrad, he is the very first vampire on Innistrad. This doesn't mean, of course, like there's other vampires on Zendikar, for instance. The only difference is on Zendikar they're basically more tribal, whereas in Innistrad they're basically what we expect out of vampires, are very gothic, more or less like something from the Underworld movies. They're not stereotypes of vampires like Bela Lugosi or anything like that, but they're like warriors and they're pretty badass. So I make that comparison to Underworld because it's very similar to, I forget the old guy's name, but definitely reminds me of the old guy. He's like the head vampire in like the very first movie, and he ended up dying, which really upset a lot of fans. But very good movie. You should go watch it and definitely support it. I love the hell out of Kate Beckinsale, but definitely going back to vampires and just vampire tribal in general, a lot of people are speculating and saying we could be getting our first Mardu vampire legendary creature here in Edgar Markov. Looks very badass, and it makes sense why it could be Edgar Markov. There's people that saying it could be someone else in the Markov bloodline that we don't know a lot about. Who knows? But it would make sense if it were to be Edgar, because they did this before. I don't know if you guys realize this, but Karlov of the Ghost Council, he is, I think he's Teysa's father, or Teysa's grandfather, or one of the two. So basically they've done this before, where they've gone back in the family ties and just they've used Karlov as, you know, to go back and tell the story, I guess you could say, of Teysa. And on Ravnica, of course, the Orzhov Guild, that's their affiliation. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if they did something similar to that, and they did it with Edgar Markov. Pretty cool. And if you don't already know his story, he was this experiment kind of guy with he's a scientist. What the fuck am I saying? Experiment guy. He's a scientist basically, and he's like one of the mad scientists, which that's nothing new from Innistrad. There's tons of them, and he basically exsanguinated an angel. Now I don't know the specific name of this angel, don't really give a shit, and basically the blood from that angel was used in an experiment to, I guess, give eternal life to Edgar and his grandson for some reason. I guess they were afraid of dying, and I don't know why, but it is what it is. And that basically started the whole vampirism on Innistrad. And the funny thing about this too was that it actually started as soon as, like, I think Soren became a vampire, he ignited his planeswalker spark. That's when it happened, which is just hilarious because it seems to be that a lot of these characters that get their planeswalker spark, it happens like, oh, I'm a badass now. Whoa, I'm a vampire. And now suddenly he's able to planeswalk to and from Innistrad just because he became a fucking vampire. That's hilarious. So it's also interesting too because we have cat tribal. Now, I couldn't really care less. I'm not a big cat fan. In real life, I mean, cats are awesome, but on the cards, I mean, Celestia, it's the right colors, but I just don't really like the card itself. Arabo doesn't interest me. It's more or less just a combat-focused deck, and it's the same reason why I wasn't a big fan of Saskia. Seems like a very combat-focused deck as well. Not something I'm interested in. When I play Commander, I want to choose a commander that alters the paradigm of how I think about a deck strategy. I don't want to play the same fucking deck over and over again. I don't want to use the same combat focused style. Like, I don't want to use the same exact cards. I mean, obviously we're going to go cat tribal, that whole route, but the main thing that I want to do here is I want to make something different, something unique. You know, something that's not just about combat. I know combat's definitely going to end up being a win con for a lot of decks, but I want the strategy here to be something different than just, oh, here's a buff here that you're going to be giving to your creatures, and that's it. So definitely not that interesting to me, if I had to be completely honest. However, the next one, the Ur-Dragon, looks very interesting, and it's definitely good that we have something that can make dragon spells cheaper, because as you all know, dragons are expensive as hell. And one of the biggest problems with a deck like, say, Scion of the Ur-Dragon, who has been the primary focus for Dragon Tribal up to this point, has been the fact that dragons are so expensive, and unless you have something that can cheat them out, like say a Kaalia, it definitely makes it difficult to play a deck and compete against the aggro builds and the control builds that can definitely deal with you early on and just keep you from setting any sort of momentum. And it's very important if you can get them out for cheaper, and I think that's definitely why the Ur-Dragon is going to take over as the new Dragon Tribal Commander. And I really like dragons. I think they're cool, but I mean, I've played Kaalia before. I've tried to play Scion. I mean, the deck's never interested me. I've never really been like, oh my god, I love Dragon Tribal so much, and they don't really do anything unique to me. They're big creatures, they're flying, and that's about it. They have fire breathing occasionally, but there's never really anything that cool about them. They're just good combat creatures, and that's it. If you watch my Wizard Tribal, I love wizards because they're unique. They're not just combat focused. They're control focused. They draw you cards. I mean, they're really cool, and they're all relatively cheap enough to cast and make it worth playing the tribal. Whereas with dragons, it's just, here's dragons, you swing with them. That's about it. There's some cool effects based around them, and you know, you could have Hellkite Tyrant, you take artifacts and stuff like that. But I mean, that's about it. There's nothing really unique about them other than, hey, here's a tribe and they're all big creatures. Doesn't interest me that much. So if I had to say, out of all these decks, the ones that I would want to get the most would probably end up being the Cleric deck and the Vampire deck. Seems to me that these are going to be the most interesting out of the 4 decks here, and I'm not just saying that because they look cool. I'm saying that because vampires have a unique playstyle. They are combat focused primarily, but they also have synergies with +1/+1 counters, death and taxes, similar things to that, and having Mardu definitely expands the tribe, whereas with dragons we already expect them to be 5 color anyway. There's a shit ton of dragons support, whereas with vampires I feel like it definitely would make up for the lack of decent support from the Shadows block. And I know I'm not the only one who feels that Wizards, they failed to give us some really good vampire support in that block. It was more or less just kind of meh when it came to the whole vampires and werewolf thing. kind of the fact that Emrakul came to that plane definitely took away from the whole theme around Innistrad of just, you know, Halloween shit, and definitely we could use some more vampire support, especially in Mardu colors, especially in white. That would be cool. And with clerics, I honestly don't know what direction they're going to go with clerics. I definitely think that's interesting. They have so many different clerics, though, that you can choose from within Orzhov colors, and if they decide to go 3-color with clerics, I don't know what exactly they would do. So I think it's definitely open. The fact that we don't exactly know what to expect out of this. We do have some sort of life and taxes builds based around clerics. You could obviously play Soul Sisters if you absolutely wanted to. I think that's hilarious. And there's just also, I mean, they have extort strategy, so definitely I think life and taxes, or death and taxes, what am I saying, life and tax, death and taxes is a good option for this type of strategy. I mean, we have a lot of it already, and I think it's cool. I think it's definitely interesting, but if I had to choose which one I like the most, it would probably be the cleric deck. It's the most unique to me, and obviously I like the vampires too, but definitely need some support for things we don't already have. And unfortunately, unless we get a better legendary in the cat deck, I'm not too interested by cats. I'm just not. I mean, it's just combat, you know, combat tricks, and they're not even interesting combat tricks. You just get a buff. I mean, that's cool and all, but we have a ton of buffs and a ton of overrun effects in this format. It doesn't interest me, and I'm sadly going to say that I'm only going to probably get 1 or 2 of these decks and probably say fuck it to the other 2. And that's kind of how I feel about it. So what I want you guys to do is let me know, out of the 4 decks that are speculated here, or at least 2 of them are speculated. We don't know for certain like what the cards are in it yet, so obviously it's going to be dependent on what the final deck lists are. So as of right now, for what we have speculated, let me know in the comment section what you guys want the most, or which deck you would most likely buy the most out of these 4. Like, if you had to choose, I know a lot of you are probably going to get all 4, but if you had to only get 1, say you only had enough money to buy 1, which one would you get? So I want you to let me know in the comment section, so my next video, or a video coming up soon, I can then make another video basically giving the results of the vote. And I'll take the time, I'll count it. So I want you to just, you know, you don't even have to go into depth about, you know, why you would do it, but if you want to, you know, that's great, wonderful, thank you for doing so. But it'll also be a way to kind of give you guys a chance to interact with me on the channel a little bit here. I know you guys, you know, give nice comments to me, but this will be something that'll be a little bit, it'll be more or less just your input for my channel here. Just let me know which deck here you would want to buy the most, and we'll just give a result here. And who knows, man, I might do a giveaway. I might just do a giveaway, and it could be the deck that gets the most votes. I could give away one of these decks, and I might be able to do it here pretty soon. Obviously, I might be getting that YouTube money here, so I might be able to go and do it and reinvest my dividends back into my channel. So let me know in the comment section which deck you want to buy the most, and I will make another video following that up, and it'll probably be maybe 2 or 3 days from now, and I'll address which deck won the vote. So anyway, guys, that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to comment and subscribe if you have not already. Like this video, share it, or do whatever you want. Have a nice day. Void here, signing off.